Welcome to the LDN radio show, brought to you by the LDN Research Trust. I'm your host, Linda Elsiegood. I have an exciting lineup of guest speakers who are LDN experts in their field. We will be discussing low-dose naltrexone and its many uses in autoimmune diseases, cancers, etc. Thank you for joining us.
Today we're joined by Sandi from the US, who takes LDN for multiple sclerosis. Thank you for joining us today, Sandi.
Thank you for having me. I love LDN. I want everybody to know about it.
So, when did you first notice your MS symptoms? How long ago was that?
I was diagnosed in January of '84 and totally paralyzed by that fall. And with a lot of help from God, I got back to being fairly normal. And I walked without aids until 2016, when I had to have back surgery. And so I'm doing the impossible, which people think I shouldn't be doing. So I'm pretty thrilled that I've not been completely wiped out with the stupid disease, because it's a horrid, horrid disease that I want no one to have.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So can you tell us, what was your life like before you started LDN, immediately before?
Okay. With the MS, I also have a disease called interstitial cystitis, which is also called painful bladder disease. And so my life before LDN, I would literally have to go to the bathroom every 20 minutes to 2 hours when the interstitial kicked in. And with the MS, I had overactive bladder terribly bad. And so I couldn't go more than an hour or two without having to go to the bathroom. And that was day and night. And so with LDN, once I started that, my bladder has been nearly normal, which is absolutely amazing. Mm-hmm. Before LDN, I couldn't drink my coffee because it's a diuretic, and so it would go right through me. But now with LDN, I'm so totally normal. I can go 5-6 hours during the day without having to use the restroom, or I sleep 8 hours through the night, 8 to 10 hours through the night without having to get up. It's amazing, absolutely amazing, the difference that it made. And then something I didn't realize, and I had been keeping track of it because it was something odd. I started going to the bathroom in the other direction too, having bowel movements. And before LDN, I was perpetually constipated. I sometimes didn't go to the bathroom for 5-6 days at a time. But in 2016, after I started taking LDN, I started going, oh, I'm going to the bathroom. What's this? Why? It's different. And after I looked into it and started studying it a little bit, I went, well, of course, the LDN has got me regulated that way too, which is an absolute miracle. Being constipated for, back then, what was it, 25 years? That's a long time. And so it totally reshaped my whole life. I love it. I love it. I love it.
So apart from the bowel and the bladder problems prior to LDN, what were your other symptoms?
With the MS, or?
Yes.
Well, I have abnormal feeling below my waist. I can feel, but it's abnormal. Fortunately, MS has not affected my brain. I'm still very cognitive, and the neurologists agree with that. So I have balance problems, and I can't walk far, but I can walk. So I have abnormal feeling just throughout my body. My hands, when I was first diagnosed, were impacted, but they are no longer a problem, and my arms were never impacted. So those are good things. My eyesight was never changed with the MS, but the drug that I took for interstitial cystitis has given me macular degeneration. And so I have lost the central vision in one of my eyes. But that was the drug that caused that. And the fatigue, that's the big one. Is most of us with MS have extreme extreme fatigue, and that is something that I have not found anything that helps with that. Get down.
Didn't the LDN help with the fatigue?
Not that I noticed, no.
Really?
I wish that it did, but no, I found nothing that really helps with the fatigue.
It's a shame. Have you looked into diet?
I tried a diet when I was first diagnosed, and on that diet, I lost so much weight, I went under 100 pounds, and I'm 5 foot, almost 5'6". And so diets don't work for me. I wish they did, and they're extremely complicated. So I have troubles eating as it is. So to go on a diet, I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't work for me.
Okay. So just prior to starting LDN, if you had to rate your quality of life on a score of 1 to 10, and 10 being the best, what would it have been?
Before,
Yes.
probably a 3.
Okay. And now?
Well, I get more complicated as I go along. This past March, I broke my butt. I had just fallen to the floor, and I got 2 sacrum fractures and spent 28 days in the hospital. And so without that, my quality of life would be an 8. I was working part-time. I was doing really well until, well, I got COVID in 21, spent 21 days in the hospital and lost my dad to it in 21. But I was coming back from that, and then I fell and broke my butt. And so prior to all that, I would say that my quality of life was about an 8. Right now, I'm more 6, 7-ish, just because of the healing that's still taking place in my butt.
And has LDN helped with the pain at all, do you think?
I think that it has, because there was a couple times within that hospital stay that I did not have my LDN. And I think once I started back on my dosage, the pain lessened. It didn't go away because obviously it's 2 fractures, but I think that it did help. And I think that it does help. I'm not nearly in the amount of pain that I used to be in before LDN, because I've always had hip pain, and there's a spot in my butt that they never really knew what was going on, and that's why I had back surgery. But that has always kind of been there. But after the LDN, it definitely diminished. So I think it does help.
And did you recover from the back surgery okay?
I did. The back, what was happening was there was a nerve that was hitting, something was hitting on a nerve, and I would just be standing at work and it would drop me. And nobody quite knew what it was. And then they found out that I had my S1 disc was problematic. And so they went in and fixed it, and it stopped that falling.
Mm. And what caused your fall, your last fall, where you fractured two of your bones?
But these fractures that I just had in March, I had just come off of my 4th colonoscopy in a year. And my legs just gave out, and I just basically squatted to the ground, but fractured both sides of my sacrum. Yeah, don't do it. I like to tell people, bust your butt doing the things you love. Just don't bust your butt the way I did. It's not worth it at all.
Yeah, sounds terrible.
It is. Yeah, I recommend nobody else do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not good.
So how did you know initially that you had MS?
Well, it was back in college, and all of a sudden my butt went numb. It was like I had sat too long, and I went to the doctor at that point and said, my butt's numb. He said, oh, it might be MS. Well, that cleared up. And then I had taken a terrible fall when I was hot potting in Yellowstone Park. And I kind of fell down the mountain, and we kind of went, well, gotta admit I was partying.
Yeah.
So we thought that was it. But then I was working for a theater company, and we were loading up the bus from the 2nd story loading dock, and I fell out of that loading dock and ended up with terrible, terrible headaches that sent me to the neurologist for the first time. And so they diagnosed MS at that time.
So you're quite an expert faller, one way or another.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah. So it was kind of just an odd way to go around getting diagnosed. But
were you offered any treatments at that time?
Any what?
Treatment. Did they offer you any help?
Oh, yeah. No, in 1984, they really didn't. I took some steroids, not for very long, but they didn't have any treatments. And so I just, after the recovery from the total paralysis, where I learned to crawl, then walk with crutches, then walk with a cane, and then walk independently, I was pretty normal, other than my bladder and my bowel. I mean, I walked very stiffly. It was an abnormal walk, but it was, a lot of people didn't know. And so I walked like that until my back really gave out. So,
well, you were very lucky with not having cognitive problems. Very lucky. Yeah.
Yeah, that to me would be the worst. Yeah, I like being able to think and respond and obviously talk. So yeah, in it all, I'm very, very grateful, because it could be a whole lot worse.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I have to give all the credit to God, because he's the one that's done it. I'm very blessed, very, very blessed, because at the beginning the doctors had said, you will never walk again. And they guaranteed that I wouldn't walk without aids. And I did. I walked without aids for 25 years. So
Wow, that's a long, long time, isn't it?
it is.
Yes. Are you able to do any exercise, or are you having to be very, very careful what you do right now?
Right now, and I've got people in praying about this, is there's kind of a fear of walking just because I don't want to fall again. And so I have plans that I will start going to the YMCA and rebuild my muscles. It's, yeah, and it's not like me to be scared of walking, but I have been. But I'm just now getting back to overcoming that.
Oh, that's good.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. So I'm ready to get back to me, get back to, yeah, because
Good.
I do live alone, so I'm totally on my own. As I said, my dad passed from COVID last year, and he lived next door to me. So this whole year has been a total relearning curve. But as I said, God and LDN are my two staples that I will never quit. Never.
Well, you've done remarkably well. Absolutely remarkably well. What an inspiration.
Well, I hope I am, because I mean, it's a mindset. You can't give in to the negativity. And I love my doctor that had prescribed the LDN. And I think that I found out about LDN on my MS websites back in 15 or so, whenever. But I am her first patient that she's put on it. And she puts anybody with an autoimmune disease on it now. And because of me, because it has worked so well for me. And so she does now readily prescribe it, which makes me happy. Because
well, you've been on it a long time. So I mean, she's been able to see that it hasn't done you any harm, and you'll continue to improve. So that's amazing.
Oh, yeah, no side effects whatsoever. And I love my dreams. I keep saying that if I could totally remember them all the time, I could write sitcoms. They are so funny. Yeah, I absolutely love the weird dreams.
I feel robbed now. I never had any dreams.
You haven't? Oh, yeah. That's the one side effect that I do have from it. And like I said, I think they're crazy. I love them.
So
the one thing
the doctor that prescribed the LDN for you, was that your own doctor, or did you have to go looking for an LDN doctor?
No, she was my own primary care physician.
Well,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah, and like I said, she is sold on it now. She is absolutely sold on it, that she will prescribe it for other people that come to her. So that's a good thing. When I tell people about LDN here in my community, at least I can tell them, you know, Dr. McIntyre will prescribe it for you. If you want to try it, she will do it.
Did it take her a long while to decide to prescribe it for you?
She didn't. It didn't. My doctor knows that I do a lot of research in all areas of MS and well, autoimmune diseases mainly. And so she knew that I knew what I was talking about. She has been very supportive of me because I have gone around the world for stem cells, for adult stem cell therapy. And so she knows that I do my research. She knows I'm not just slinging it at her going, let's try this. She knows. So she was very good about prescribing it readily, easily, because she knew I really looked into it. It wasn't just a spur of the moment thing.
And how did you get on with the stem cells?
I have some friends who are in the business, well, not in the business, but who I call my stem cell gurus, who matched me up with different places and the progress and the promising results of them. And so, yeah, that's the other thing I like. I like adult stem cells. My last ones I had were in 19, and I went to Chicago and Mexico, and those stem cells have totally eliminated my problem with heat intolerance, which I used to have the air conditioning blowing full blast in the summer. This summer, I've turned my air conditioning on maybe 4 times the whole summer. And we've had a record hot summer in Montana. So yeah, that's another thing I'm sold on, are stem cells. Yeah, I like those. My ones from Israel, I walked totally normal, but only for 9 weeks until they wore off. So you have to keep getting them to keep them working, but it proved to me that they work. There's going to be time that I go get more, and I think they work well with the LDN. I think they're in a similar league for me, that they're promising in all sorts of areas.
Well, we wish you all the success with your healing. We hope that you're back up on your feet soon.
Thank you. The one thing I will say, and I follow LDN groups, I'm on several of them, obviously, but the one thing that it has not helped me with at all are dry eyes. And I see people saying that they get helped from that. But for me, that is something that it has never helped, which I wish it would, but it has not.
Mm-hmm.
But
okay.
Everybody's different, so.
Exactly, yes.
Mm-hmm. May I ask what you take it for?
MS.
You do? Okay, you too.
Yes.
What's your story?
Oh, you'll have to listen to it. You'll have to Google me and
Okay.
listen to it.
Okay. Any questions or comments you may have, please email me, Linda, Linda, at ldnrt.org. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for joining us today. We really appreciated your company. Until next time, stay safe and keep well.